What is going on, guys? I am Josh the Penguin here without gameplay for once for DBD. Instead, we're going to talk about the developer update, the not patch notes. Yeah, just the update the developers' behavior gave us regarding the 6.4.0 chapter, which comes out next month. I'm literally recording this about an hour after they announced all the changes they're making. So yeah, we're just going to read through it because just reading the Twitter comments alone, a lot of people aren't big fans of these changes, but I'm just going to give you my piece on it and just my thoughts on it. So we have the developer update, October 2022. It's the final developer update of the year, given this update's going to be like early November, thereabouts, with a new chapter, whatever it's going to be. It doesn't dive into any of that, unfortunately. That's still going to be sometime in the future. We'll find out about that one. But this will just be what's planned from a balancing gameplay point of view. So bots in custom matches, I think is a fantastic change. So they're giving you the ability to add bot survivors into a kill your friends lobby. They don't have killers yet. They need to program them to work with the AI to function with each killer's ability. It's a lot easier to program survivors. So I'm okay with that taking a bit longer. I think it's a good opportunity to, like, when a new map comes out, to actually have a look at it without me having to try and find 4 friends to jump in a lobby. It also means it'll be easy to find lobbies on the PTB, everything like that. So you can either have lobbies as there were before, so if you still want to do your 1v1s or just play a smaller lobby for whatever reason, you can do that. You can do 4 bots as your survivors, so you're just killing 4 bots like the tutorial, or you can go and do a combination of the two, so you could have 2 friends in there and 2 bots to fill up numbers, whatever you want to do. I really like this change. And yeah, plan to include killer bots in a future update, so you can practice against the killer. But it's still good to practice as the killer, because even a lot of survivors can actually pick up a lot of things from knowing how a killer plays, being the killer, to know what to avoid when playing survivor. So I don't think this is a bad change at all. And yes, select characters you want to by your side and their loadouts. That's just, we're going to have a look at it once it's out. We won't know that yet. Visual improvements, continuing ongoing efforts to improve the graphics of Dead by Daylight. We've updated the visuals for breakable objects, pallets and break walls. Rather than making you read about them, we figured to show you. So that's the side door on Coal Tower, and that's presumably Killer Shack. Looks like Macmillan. And the new basement looks really nice. I really like that. I'm assuming this is going to be Macmillan as well. Just because that's what they've been showing here. This basement looks really nice. I don't know if they'll change that much from realm to realm. Like, for example, on Ormond, if this is a little bit snowier, or like on the preschool where you got the boiler room, if it's a bit more like that, I don't know. Oh, double locker. They've changed the layout of basement. It's interesting. This is the big one. And where things are going to get a little bit controversial. So we recently updated flashlights to prevent them from being triggered too frequently to address concerns of epilepsy. As annoying as it can be, particularly if you're like just off your flashlight saving timer, which we'll get onto later in one of the next points. You can't readjust. It like locks you out for, what is it, about half a second, and then you can go again. As annoying that is, gameplay wise, the reason they incorporated it is fantastic. There are people actually having issues epilepsy wise with people flickering the flashlights or macroing them. So, and plus they're just annoying. So I'm fine with this change. Absolutely love it. So yeah, while we were working on this change, we took the opportunity to revisit flashlights and plan some additional updates for them. In the 6.4.0 updates, flashlights will receive 2 changes. Honestly, these 2 are both going to be controversial. The first one is locker blind immunity. So some lockers are positioned in a way where a clever survivor can blind the killer as they're grabbing another survivor out of it. A common one is there's the two lockers on Ormond, where like the big opening in the side of the building is opposite where the basement spawns, if that makes sense, as well as the locker closest to the shack doorway in the killer shack. Both of them are very common, where survivor jumps in there, killer grabs them, survivor just stands outside the doorway, gets an easy flashlight save. If you know the timing, you won't ever miss, and the killer can do absolutely nothing about it. I think this is an amazing change, because what they are adding is to prevent situations like this where you physically can't do anything. Killers will receive blind immunity while grabbing a survivor from locker. So basically, it'll be like while you do that animation of grabbing them out of a locker, you have Lightborn. And I think this is an amazing change. And if you think this is a terrible change, you are a survivor main that does this. Objectively, it is an amazing change. Like I said, if you think this is a bad change, you are a survivor main. Deal with it. But then it leads on to this one, which I'll read it out, and then I can see both sides of the argument here. So a flashlight save can be a game changer, absolutely, but they're a little tricky to pull off. A lot of us should practice and just knowing the positioning. On top of getting into a position for a save, the timing on flashlight saves is incredibly precise. Correct. You need to blind the killer right as the pickup animation ends, but before they can turn away. While experienced survivors and masters timing, pulling off a save can feel off limits for a newer player. To address this, we're adding a short, which is a quarter of a second buffer to the end of a killer's pickup animation. If they are blinded during this window, they'll be stunned and drop the survivor as soon as the animation finishes. I can see the good and the bad for this, which one will be devil's advocate depending on your opinion on it. Given they have taken the ability away to readjust, let's just say like in the past, before the current changes they did to flashlights, you blind the killer and you realize, shit, I've done it slightly early. That's when you do a little click, readjust, bang, you got the blind. Sweet. This basically accounts for the fact you can't do that again. So if you slightly early again, it just means you don't have to readjust anymore, you'll get it anyway. Which, sure, whatever, but that's where I can see that argument. They've fixed it. But then it's going to make, like, it means as well there's more chance for you to get blinded. Which a lot of survivors might miss that timing ever so slightly. I don't think this is a terrible change. Like I said, I can see both arguments. People are saying, oh, it's just helping newer survivors and it's going to make good survivors even better. Most killers stare at a wall anyway. So most of the time this won't make any changes. I see it more so as them adjusting it so where you could adjust in the past because you could just do a quick little click, readjust your timing and you're fine. You can't do that anymore, so I see that mainly to fix that issue. The next one we got is matchmaking improvements. So Dead by Daylight is always changing, so it only makes sense for the matchmaking system to change with it. We are always keeping an eye on matchmaking and making small tweaks behind the scenes to strike a nice balance between wait times and match quality. In addition to this, we have some large and much requested improvements on the way. Matchmaking is a very complex subject, so I'll have a dedicated post going into detail on how exactly these new features work next week. But in the meantime, here's what you can expect. I do agree that there's so many factors into matchmaking, especially in an asymmetrical game like Dead by Daylight. I don't think you're ever going to achieve the perfect balance between wait times and match quality. You get close, but particularly like OCE where I play, it's a lot smaller community, say to like your different like servers in Asia, Europe, America. In OCE, it's a lot smaller community, so there's less of a pool, if that makes sense. So it's always going to be a bit different experience I'm going to have to the vast majority of the player base. But the changes they're doing, team-based ratings, With escapes being the win condition for survivors, dying heroically to save your team can feel a little anticlimactic. We're introducing team-based ratings to remedy this. Your rating will adjust based on not only your own performance, but the team's performance as well. Sacrificing yourself to save the team won't be nearly as punishing. This works well if you've done like a really good altruistic save. Say you save like 2 or 3 of your other survivors, they escape but you die in the process. You're not going to get punished for it. Likewise, if you get found first, chased for 4 or 5 gens and killed, and your teammates all escape, you won't get punished for playing badly while they just sat on a gens and go, yay, you played the game correctly. Your teammate that died was terrible, blah, blah, blah. So I think this is what they need, is to take into account all these different factors instead of purely kills, escapes, because as it is by that, you could be a Blendette hiding on the corner of the map, wait for everyone to die, take patch, you've done nothing, you escape, MMR goes up. Like with Killer, you can just slug everyone, bleed them out. You don't even have to hook anyone, just bleed them out. Which, with the Unbreakable changes coming at some stage, won't matter. But yeah, for now, that's what you can do. So I think having other factors incorporated is a very good change. Extended breaks. If you're just coming back from an extended break, contending with Rust on top of facing the same caliber of players as when you left can make things rough. To make returning from a break easier, your matchmaking rating will adjust quicker after your first few matches back. This will help you settle into a place where you're more comfortable much quicker than before. I think this is fine. This is mainly, say if you're someone that's taken a year-long break and you've come back, just because I believe your MMR decays over time. Basically, it'll just help you get back to where you should be quicker, which is what it is. It won't really affect me, not in the foreseeable future anyway, but I don't think that's a bad change, and both changes are part of the 6.4.0 update coming next month. Keep an eye out for matchmaking blog posts for more details. Here's a big one, an update on cheating. Thankfully, one of the benefits of being an OCE, there are a lot less cheaters. In 6 years of playing Dead by Daylight, I honestly can only think of maybe 10 cheaters at the most I've come up against, at least noticeable cheaters. So cheating thankfully hasn't affected me too much, but you only need to look at social media to see how much of a problem cheating has been on Dead by Daylight. So we recently shared a roadmap detailing our plans to combat cheating. In the week since, we've fixed a number of vulnerabilities to lessen the impact of cheats. Here's a list of just some of the exploits we've prevented recently. So prevented cheaters from hooking themselves, prevented generators from being instantly powered, prevented cheaters from starting a match with 2 killers, prevented cheaters from stacking duplicate perks and add-ons, prevented extended flashlight blind durations, reduced maximum length of matches to prevent the extraordinarily long matches, added countermeasures to force the match to end after the endgame collapse, added countermeasures to prevent player sniping, fixed an issue that could allow cheaters to crash the game. Literally in a video uploaded not too long ago where I came up against a cheater, we definitely dealt with a few of these, like duplicate perks. We had like 7 boilovers and 500 head-ons or something stupid. Definitely noticed the flashlight duration. Thankfully these ones didn't matter too much. This one potentially, I don't know. But we're now able to confirm that these fixes were effective and have limited the abilities of cheaters for the time being. We have already identified additional vulnerabilities and will roll out fixes over the coming weeks, but we can't give details on these just yet to avoid giving cheat makers a heads up. We'll share more on what we've been working on in our next update on cheating. Getting onto cheating, like any online game, there is always going to be cheaters. There's only so much a development company, whether it's Behavior, EA, Sony, whoever, there's only so much you can do. And it's just staying on top of it. Like, it's going to be the common dance of cheaters will find a vulnerability, exploit it, there's your cheats. The developers will go and patch it. Then the cheaters go, okay, let's find a different vulnerability, exploit it, rinse and repeat. There you go. That's going to be the endless cycle. And there's always going to be cheaters, but Behavior are doing a really good job in all things considered as of late on staying on top of this. And a lot of these, it's good that they've incorporated this to see less of your cheaters. Like I said, I haven't had to experience it too much, thankfully. Touch wood, I won't. But I'm very happy with the direction they're taking this at the moment. Then we've got temporary bans. Last but not least, we'd like to notify you about an update to a temporary ban policy. Temporary bans are used for minor infractions such as griefing, harassment, and unsportsmanlike conduct. These are separate from matchmaking bans acquired from disconnecting from a match. So this is the bans where behavior have actually inflicted it upon you, not where you've DC'd, you got to wait 5 minutes, then DC'd again, you got to wait 15, an hour, whatever the exponential growth in that is. So to better discourage toxic behavior, we're increasing the duration of temporary bans across the board. So the first strike's for 2 days, it was 24 hours. Second strike is a week, it was 2 days. Third strike is a month, it was a week. And your fourth strike is permanent, which is unchanged. Particularly bad or repeated behavior may result in more than one strike if our support team deems it necessary. A list of bannable offenses can be found here. So yeah, links there in the post if you want to see what it is. We're going to make it very clear toxicity has no place in our game. Okay. We hope these increased durations will both discourage players from spreading toxicity in the first place, as well as give them more time to reflect on the behavior afterwards. As a reminder, cheating will result in an immediate permanent ban. The issue is, I'm going to open this up quickly. As soon as it wants to load. Yeah, I don't care. Yes, I know, just get me there. Insults, intimidation, hateful speech, blah, blah, blah. Working the opposite team to gain advantage, blah, blah, blah. Holding game hostage, advertising exploits, exploiting bugs, errors in design, or undocumented features to gain access. See, a lot of these, particularly like something like this, if it's a bug and you're not even aware of it, like sometimes where some of the rocks, particularly like Macmillan, you can climb up at a loop. A lot of people don't realize there are some loops you can do that when they've just, something's messed with the like objects collision hitbox. But yeah, advertising it, fair enough. Unsportsmanlike conduct, botting, lag switching, disconnects. Yeah, do not report that. Because they get a ban already, so what's the point? I think this is a big one. Insults, intimidation, hateful speech, repeated harassment. There's a difference between being salty about something, like saying Killer you play like shit, or Survivors you are terrible, or GGEs. That's one thing, that's just being a dickhead. This is like if you're getting personal, racial, like taking it that step too far. Or if you're just going non-stop about it, which everyone's had their moment of toxicity and getting angry at this game. Let's be honest with ourselves. We've all done it. I've done it. We all get tilted. We all say things we don't mean. This is for the people that just go that step further. And yeah, with that, we've reached the end of final developer update of 2022, but don't worry, we'll keep in touch until these posts return. All of the changes mentioned here will be available in the 6.4.0 public test build starting next week. If you should get a chance to give them a try, please let us know what you think. So, test build coming next week. I'll definitely be making content on that. Hopefully there will be the new Killer and Survivor and perks, and supposedly there's a new map coming. We won't know until I see the PTB. All in all, I'm happy with this. I think this is a really good update, and I think it continues behavior streak of good updates as of late. So I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah. Like I said, where is it? The flashlight ones, the locker blind immunity. That's causing a huge upset on Twitter, predominantly from what I've seen. I haven't really checked the other socials. Like I said, if your update about the fact that there's locker blind immunity, you are a Survivor main that abuses this. Because as a Killer, there is zero counterplay. It's not like there's minimal counterplay. There is none. So if you're upset about this, you exploit it. A lot of Survivors, if they know about it, can't do it, or don't even know about it. So they'll be like, yeah, whatever. This is for the survivors that know what it is and actively abuse it. Suck shit. This change was needed. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts were. We will be live over the weekend with some DBD as well as some other games. So if you want to come stop on by, link to the Twitch channel will be in the description as always. Otherwise, twitch.tv/JoshThePenguin_. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments your opinions on this patch. Like I said, I think it's a really good patch. But yeah, until next time, peace out.